Hi, Mr. Mtalini. I'm just checking if I'm audible and visible.
Chairperson, good morning. You are audible and visible.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, we'll start the meeting at 10 o'clock. We're just waiting for everybody else to join. Thanks very much.
Recording in progress.
Colleagues, good morning and welcome to the Select Committee on Public Infrastructure and Minister in the Presidency's meeting for today, the 2nd of December. We will be doing today briefings from the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure on their 2025-26 financial mid-year performance monitoring reports. We will be looking at the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure's report. We'll be looking at the Independent Development Trust report, as well as the Construction Industry Development Board report. We will then have some deliberations, and we will also then deal with another item on the agenda, the Economic Regulation of Transport Amendment Bill. Members, we will consider the written submissions on that bill as received, and we will also then go on to the consideration of the committee report and the adoption thereof. That will take us towards 12:50. We'll do the consideration and adoption of meeting minutes and the closure of the meeting around about 1 o'clock. To the department, we will start with your briefings, Public Works and Infrastructure, around about 10:15, and can I ask if the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure can allocate 20 minutes to their briefing, the IDT do 15 minutes, and the Construction Industry and Development Board do 15 minutes. That'll allow us as members to do some engagement for approximately an hour and a half. If we do run out of time a little bit, it's not a train smash, but I'm going to ask the department and the officials to please try and stick to those briefing time frames. And members, when you do your questions, please stick to your questions, and when the department respond, without taking away any of the quality of the responses, can I just request that we try and keep the responses as succinct as possible. So with that, thank you very much. You're all very welcome. I notice on the platform, the Minister, you are very welcome. You're in the department. We'll do the official introductions now. I'm going to go over to the adoption of the agenda. Honourable members, can we please get a proposer and a seconder for the proposed agenda?
Morning, Chairperson, I propose.
Thank you, Honourable Skeerkogel. Can we get a seconder? Thank you, Honourable Breed. I see your hand is up. Much appreciated. Let us then go over to apologies. Are there any apologies, Mr. Ntalini?
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, honorable members, Minister and Deputy Minister, official of the department and the entities. We have received an apology from the Chief Whip. He's attending the SADC Parliamentary Forum in Durban.
Is that the only one?
Wingman, yes.
Okay, so we noticed the apology of Honourable Muimang. If there's nothing else, we'll go on to introductions. Honourable members, if we can please do introductions. My name is Rikus Badenhorst. I'm a permanent delegate of the Western Cape. Let's go over to, let's see who's next on the list. Dr. Skeerkogel.
Good morning, Chairperson. My name is Igor Skeerkogel. I'm a permanent delegate from the Free State. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honourable Mabebo. Okay, let's skip Honourable Mabebo for now. Honourable Peter.
Good morning, Honourable Chair. I'm Mandla Peter, the permanent delegate of the Eastern Cape. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honourable Breed.
Morning, Chairperson. Let me get everything sorted. There we go. Thank you. I'm Tammy Breed, member of this committee and from the Free State.
Thank you very much. Honourable Molokobe.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Honourable Molokobe, permanent delegate from Limpopo. Sorry for my video, Chair.
No problem. And also our committee whip. Thank you very much. Honourable Makasini.
Thank you, Chair. Member Mandisa Makasini, permanent delegate from Free State. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Makasini. Honourable Kaunda.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning to the Minister and Deputy Minister and all from KwaZulu-Natal, a permanent delegate.
Thank you very much, Honourable Kaunda. Honourable Nzambande.
Good morning. I'm member Chablan Zimande, permanent delegate from Gauteng. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Nzamande. Let's just go back to Honourable Mabebo. Are you here?
Yes. Good morning, Chairperson. This is Honourable Mabebo, a permanent delegate from the Northwest Province. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think the only one we've missed so far is Honourable Kleza.
You will join later, Chair, please. I will check him.
Thank you very much. We'll wait for him to join in as well a bit later on. Thank you very much. Honourable Minister McPherson, thank you very much for attending this morning. We welcome you. And Deputy Minister, thank you so much for being here today. Deputy Minister Zikalala. Honourable Minister, would you like to take us through the introductions of your delegates?
Thank you very much. Good morning to yourself, Chairperson. Good morning to the Deputy Minister. Good morning to all honourable members present. Our delegation today includes the DG, Mr. Mdekani, the DDG for GRC, Mr. Mahlangu, the head of PMTE, Mr. Sabande, the CFO, Mr. Sitole, the DDG for PMO, Ms. Kafile, the DDG for Real Estate Investment, Ms. Subin, the Acting DDG for Corporate Services, Mr. Moremi, the DDG for CPM, Mr. Mahotu, the Acting DDG for Policy, Mr. Ndor, and the Acting DDG for REMS, or Real Estate Management, Mr. Pretorius, and the DDG for EPWP is Ms. Abrahams. From the IDT, we have the chairperson of the board, Ms. Hill, the CFO, Mr. Senguve, the acting CEO, Mr. Insabande, and the executive for corporate services, Ms. Nene. From the Construction Industry Development Board, we have the newly reappointed chairperson of the board, Mr. Nzor, the CEO, Mr. Dladla, from the office of the CEO, Mr. Muller, and the acting CFO, Ms. Sama. That is our delegation here for you today, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, and a very welcome to yourself, Deputy Minister, again, and your full delegation. Honourable Minister, Honourable Deputy Minister, honourable members, leaders of the delegations, Mr. Mdakane from the DPWI, Ms. Hill from the IDT, and from the CIDB, Board Chairperson Nzor. Thank you very much for attending this morning and for availing yourselves for this mid-year engagement. As a select committee, our approach remains consistent as we've been throughout the term. We will give supportive oversight aimed at strengthening delivery. So acknowledging progress while working with you to resolve challenges that might hinder performance. Honourable Minister, I think at the outset, I want to express the committee's appreciation for the steady leadership shown by yourself since taking the office. Across the departments and entities, we can see efforts to stabilise systems, to tighten governance, and to rebuild confidence in the public works and infrastructure portfolio. These improvements do not happen by accident. They reflect a clear definition, firm coordination, and a renewed sense of purpose in the department, which we all appreciate. The CIDB's performance in Q1 and Q2 is a good example of this direction, achieving 85.7% of Q1's targets and 80% in Q2, maintaining 100% 30-day payment compliance and sustaining 99.5% contracted registration turnaround times. And all these things point to a maturing institution that is finding its rhythm again. The 2025 National Construction Summit, Minister, which I must congratulate you on, was attended by over 1,200 stakeholders and demonstrated the Minister's commitment to strengthening collaboration and driving a unified approach across the sector. The summit's resolutions provide a constructive roadmap for improving performance and accountability within the construction value chain. Within the department itself, we noted an encouraging KPI performance of 85% in Q1 and 101% in Q2, as well as the improvement in 30-day payments, now at 96% compliance. Again, these are practical markers of administrative progress, and the committee appreciates the kind of effort in reaching these. At the same time, Minister, our role requires us to raise matters that still need attention. The PMTE's under-expenditure on maintenance, repairs and refurbishments in several areas below 40 to 50% by mid-year remains concerning, particularly given the scale of the national maintenance backlog. Likewise, the accumulated debt disputes now totaling 12.5 billion, and the resulting cash flow strain underline the need for continued structured engagement with National Treasury and those client departments that are in debt to us. We also note the financial pressures facing the IDT, including the 36 million rand year-to-date deficit and liquidity constraints that demand sustained attention. So, honourable members, Today is about continuity, about cooperation, and about problem solving. This committee acknowledges the progress made under the Minister's leadership, and we remain committed to working constructively, Minister, with your departments and the entities within the department to ensure stable, credible, and efficient infrastructure delivery. And with that, Honourable Minister, I'd like to hand over to you and your department for your presentations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you for the warm wishes and words. For us, it's always a pleasure to be before the Select Committee, and we always appreciate your willingness to work with our officers to ensure that we can remain of service and to account for you. That is really important to us, and so we're very grateful that you do facilitate these engagements. Let me thank the committee again also for its warm embrace that it shows us. We are very grateful to that and the constructive discussions that we're able to have in the Select Committee. Of course, the briefing that we are going to provide covers both the financial and non-financial performance for the entities, and as well it frames the department's broader reform effort around strengthening project delivery, stabilizing financial management, as well as improving reporting and turning DPWI into that economic delivery unit that we so desire. In terms of overall performance, we see in Q1 that 85% of the DPWI's KPIs have been achieved with strong performance across administrative and operational indicators. Q2, we see a full improvement there to actually an over delivery of 101%, which is pleasing. However, achievement of targets above 90% is very, very important for us. It also indicates that while there is progression, Chair, performance against the full stretch of target requires continued strengthening of management focus and ensuring that people are held accountable for what they do or don't do. Our budget expenditure remains high and in line broadly with our spending plans. In terms of our project or our program performance, a high-level summary for you, which will be expanded upon, is around systems to ensure that we are able to deal with technical matters. That is very important for us to be able to do that. Also around our performance in terms of paying invoices within 30 days. Q1, you will see 91%, and in Q2, you will see 96%. And any outstanding delays would be mainly due to system migrations and office interruptions due to power outages within the Tshwane municipality, which have become unfortunate. But we ultimately would like to get to 100% because we strongly believe and strongly support government's efforts to pay businesses within 30 days. Within Program 2, with regards to intergovernmental coordination, and there's ongoing support to provinces and municipalities on reporting and compliance. You will have seen just recently that we launched the South African Construction Action Plan, which is really around cooperation and support within provincial governments to be able to improve the overall picture of project performance. When we've also seen a focus on improving the uptakes on EPWP grants to ensure that they are compliant and done correctly. In terms of EPWP, which is Program 3, we have 694,911 work opportunities that were created, which is 68% of the annual target. So we seem to be on track to meet our full-time targets, which is really good. And that's notwithstanding the the institution you will have seen through the Deputy President's Office of the Interministerial Committee on EPW or on public employment programs, and the reform that we are working across government on public employment, which is hugely exciting, which will be eventually unveiled there, which I really look forward to. In terms of Program 4, which are Property and Construction Industry Policy and Research, we have continued to develop policy instruments for construction sector reform, and that's really the basis of what we do through the SACP, by driving common practice, by driving accountability, transparency, and digital support systems within the built environment. And there we're working really closely with the CIDB for acceleration and improvement within the construction sector. On Program 5, which is the Prestige unit, there we are seeing delivery on prestige projects that are being impacted by delays in procurement. However, we are trying to resolve that as soon as possible. We also were required to assist within the G20 summit preparations, which unfortunately, predictably became quite late notice for us, and we had to shift some of our budget to be able to assist government to deliver what I think we can all agree was a successful G20 at the end of the day. Chairperson, I don't necessarily want to go line by line because I want to leave that for the team to do. Let me say, Chair, that the PMTE remains a significant risk for the department, and needs to continually be contemplated on the direction it is going, and its ability to deliver. We are starting some of the heavy technical work now to reimagine the PMTE to become a viable solution for property asset management and direction, as well as to deal with some of the severe budget pressures that are also placed on it. Let me say, Chair, that I have raised this a number of times in the committee, and I'll continue to do so. But, government really needs to take a decision about what it wants to do with assets and, what the role of public works is. Because it can't be that departments have budgets to pay for nice, expensive offices with sea views, but they don't have budgets to even be able to pay inflation-linked increases to the department for facility charges that we do. As an example, there's a department that I received a letter from that refuses to negotiate the money that they owe us, 5 billion rand, refuses to make any increases available for the per square meter rate that they pass. And the simple question is, what do you do in that instance? Does Public Works now go around shutting down departments because they refuse to pay their debt that is owed to us, or they refuse to pay any sorts of increases to the department? It really is becoming an untenable situation, which is going to come to a head, unfortunately, one way or another. Of course, through the NCOP, we really welcome the assessment or the assistance of the committee, particularly around enforcement of EPWP compliance across provinces and municipalities, as being delegates from each of the provinces. That really does help, as well as strengthening the accountability for user departments for accommodation charges and debt repayment. I spoke to that in a moment ago. And I think that really the department has or at least the committee has the full ability and legislative power and lawful power to be able to assist us to get to the bottom of why departments refuse to pay increases in accommodation charges or what's owed to us, but they have money to have officers with sea views. I think that that's a perplexing thing that I cannot get my head around. Chair, in closing, let me appreciate the support of the committee. Particularly, I know that they have been interested in the work that we have been doing in PMTE. and finding a sustainable funding model for that going forward, as well as working with us to improve our audit outcomes and project oversight. That is very important. And in fact, I think that some of the deliberations in this committee spurred us on in the action plan because of the reports that we had from the committee and honourable members on incomplete projects. So that really did help us to crystallise our thoughts there. Chair, let me also reiterate the department remains committed to improving delivery, stabilizing finances, and enabling the construction and infrastructure sectors to support economic growth. You will see, Chair, also, and honourable members, and I'm sure that the IDT will report on the work that we are actively hands-on trying to resolve in getting money that's owed to them. The Chair and myself was in the province of KwaZulu-Natal that owes IDT some money through the Department of Education, just simply doesn't pay, and puts terrible consequences for the IDT. But again, we think that there's some scope for the committee to assist us there, and also to support the direction that they are taking in becoming a social infrastructure deliverer for choice. Chairperson, let me thank you very much for the opportunity. We look forward to the engagements, bearing in mind the time constraints that are before you, and I'm sure that the committee will do its best to get through everything as quickly as possible. Thank you, Chairperson, and through you, I would then hand over to the DG to take us through at least the public works part of the report, and then we can go through to the entities. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Minister. Mr. Mngane, thank you very much. You're welcome to continue.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. With 20 minutes, I think the CFO will flag the presentation. We've got two presenters. The first one will be non-financial, and the second one will be financial. Let me allow, through you, Chairperson, our DDG GRC to start the portion for the non-financial for both DPWI and PMPE. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. It might be helpful if we just put the presentation into slideshow mode. It'll make it bigger on the screen, I think.
Good morning, Chair. Is it showing, Chair?
Let's see. It's not showing at the moment. Just waiting for it to come up again. Nothing on the screen yet. There we go. It's up, but it's not in presentation mode. It's just in desktop mode. So if you go to top slideshow, click on that, and it'll assist you in putting it in slideshow mode.
It's a slide mode on my side. Maybe it's I don't know what's happening. It's showing full on my side, Chair.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's not on my side. I don't know if anybody else can see, but it's fine. Let us continue regardless. The members have received the presentation, so they can also refer to their own copies as we go through the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Can I hand over to Loisa, Chair? I'm assisting with sharing of the presentation.
Please continue.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I'm not sure if Mr. Matlang is in the meeting.
That's fine. Anybody else can continue. I'm just looking at our clock. We're on a tight schedule for the day. We also have a plenary this afternoon, so my apologies for being a little bit tight in the time.
So, CFO, can you proceed with financials, please?
Okay, thank you, DG. Chair, I'll go straight to the second part of the presentation, which is the financials. Yes, good morning to you, Chairperson, honorable members, Minister, DM, DG, and colleagues, and Chairperson of the IDT, CEO, and the Chairperson of CIDP and the CEO. Chair, I'll just summarize because of time. I'm not going into details. However, I will highlight certain things that the minister may not have covered because he has covered sufficient part of this report. So for the main vote, Chair, we have a budget of 7.6 billion, which then we had a rollover that was approved by National Treasury towards project preparation of 24 million. And thanks to DG and the minister, because the minister had to intervene in writing a letter to National Treasury to approve the request of the rollover for project preparation, which ISA is responsible for. While we had that rollover approved, Chair, there were also variants and adjustments that we had to do. One of them, Chair, was the 8 million for G20 preparation, which the minister has covered. So the department had to find money within its baseline to fund the G20 for 8 million. And we also had to shift the money for furniture of prestige houses for ministers and deputy ministers, because we all know that at some point they were in hotels, which became too expensive for government. So we had to allocate additional 4 million. So we then sourced that money for G20 and for prestige from our underspending on compensation of employees and the savings from foreign government and international relations. So we had to accommodate all those funding pressures from our baseline. Then in terms of the overall performance for the main vote, in terms of Q1, we achieved 23% spending, which was just slightly below the base, the norm of 25%. The main reason for that was due to provinces that were not complying with EPWP in terms of DORA, so we did not fully pay, as it's shown under expanded public works, where we spent 17%, which increased in the second quarter. Then in the second quarter, Chair, we spent 47%, which is 3.5 billion against the budget of 7.6 billion, which is cumulative. So there was also a slight increase, which was just 3% below in terms of the norm of 50%. So for the main vote point of view, Chair, that's all the highlights that I thought I must highlight. Then going to PMTE, Chair, I think the minister has covered well the 30 days payments. I don't have to repeat that. And then on PMT, Chair, we then source funding from clients. We only get about 4.1 billion from the voted fund, which support the operation of PMTE, which is not adequate. The rest of the money, Chair, its recovery costs, infrastructure, delivery, accommodation charges. Those are the source of funding for the PMTE. which then based on that, Chair, we have then the budget of 17.3 billion for PMTE, which is broken down in those categories that I have explained. So against that budget that I've indicated, Chair, in quarter one, the PMTE, the overall spending was 3.6 billion against 7.4 billion, which is 21%. Perhaps just to highlight few concerns, Chair, in terms of quarter one. On infrastructure, we didn't do well, Chair, where refurbishment, we only spent 8%. On DPW capital, which is projects that are funded by the PMTE, we only spent 89 million against 508 million, which is 8%. Client capital, we spent 16%, which is 222 million against 1.7 billion. But we then began to improve in the second quarter for infrastructure, where then we began to see refurbishment where we spent 30%. DPW capital, it was not enough improvement, but we were then sitting at 21%. While client capital, we spent 456 million, which is equivalent to 27%. So overall, for infrastructure, we spent 28%, whereas in quarter one, we spent 12%. I must indicate, Chair, there is a intervention program that has been adopted by MINMEC under the leadership of the minister, where then our DDG CPM is implementing that program. We will then begin to see the impact of those interventions perhaps towards the financial year end or early next year, but there are specific intervention programs that are being put in place. And then the other highlights, Chair, just to, for the interest of time, I'll also just to highlight under debt and revenue, where clients are owing us 14.6 billion in first quarter, where then we invoice clients for the current year 4.8 billion. We only receive 2.9 billion, which is 61%. I must indicate, Chair, as the minister has indicated, clients are not paying as they are expected to pay. There were letters that the minister has written to the Minister of Defense, Minister of Correctional Services, Minister of Finance, as part of the interventions to ensure that clients are paying. Chair, I must indicate that only DCS has responded as the minister has indicated, but we are busy responding to that letter, which also will be supported by the response letter that Treasury provided in 2018, where they were re-emphasizing the responsibility of each department to pay the PMT when it's owed. But we'll also await the response of the Minister of Finance as the minister has requested the meeting and the intervention. Then in quarter two, Chair, the same trend when actually there was an increase, if you look at slide number 70, where then the increase when moved to 16.2 billion, where then clients continue to not to pay. As we bill, Chair, clients are not paying as we offer services to clients, but clients continue not to pay. So the invoices that we issued up to the end of second quarter, we issued invoices of equivalent to 10.6 billion, and clients only paid 6.9 billion against those invoices, which is 65% recovery rate. The main concern, Chair, is mainly on accommodation charges for private leases, where we see a recovery of 54%. Client capital also, we see 45% recovery, which is also a concern, Chair. Then a special project, 34%. The only area, the municipal services also is the worst one also, where then the recovery is 37%. You can imagine, Chair, the municipalities put pressure on us, we avoid cut of services by municipalities because we also have a responsibility to pay utilities on behalf of these clients departments. And yet clients departments are not paying us. It's a concern that we are having, but there are interventions that are in place. It's just that at this stage, they are not yielding results because we depend on these departments. Chair, you'll recall the last time when we presented our annual report, the chair or this committee committed to assist us with intervention. Among the commitments was to call National Treasury to come to this committee to assist as part of the intervention by this committee and other departments that are paying. And we still appeal that the committee invite those departments, starting with National Treasury. I think, Chair, those are the highlights that I thought I must provide on financial performance. If Lwazi has joined, I can then go back to the first slide. Mr. Mahlangu, if you can indicate.
Thank you. Let us just take note that your slide presentation on my screen anyway hasn't moved at all, but we take note of your presentation. Thank you very much. If we can just ask the presenters to make sure that their slide presentations are in presenters mode and that they talk to the slides and move through them, it'll be very helpful. Thank you very much.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chair. On my side, it was moving. My sincere apology.
Thank you, Mr. Mdakani. Can we continue?
Colleagues, can we get some movement here, please? DG?
I'm calling Lwazi Minister now.
I do apologize, Chair. I'm just trying to understand what's going on here.
Thank you, Minister. I can see we've got technical difficulties this morning. If there's a problem on the public works side, maybe we should continue on the IDP presentation so long while public works sorts out the technical difficulties.
Sorry, Chair. Mr. Mahlangu is on the phone. He's asking if he can join through the phone, if he can speak through the phone. I'm not sure if you can hear him. Lwazi, can you speak?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, CFO. Good afternoon, Chair and members. My apologies, we have a power outage and even the Vodacom is affected. If you can hear me, I can continue in the next 5 minutes.
You are audible. I'm worried about the 5 minutes leeway you're asking. We don't really have 5 minutes available today. So maybe we could continue the IDT side on their presentation and then get back to your slideshow afterwards.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask the chairperson for indulgence of just high level. I can talk to it without having to flag the slides, if that's fine.
Thanks. Mr. Mtalini, just make sure that everybody has sharing rights before they start their presentations, please. Can I just clarify who are we waiting for at the moment?
No, let me present CFO.
Chair, can Lwazi proceed?
Yeah, please proceed.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. Apologies for that. Chairperson, I think most of the issues have been covered by opening remarks of the Minister, but maybe just to highlight just high-level issues. Program 1, we're moving in terms of improving that issues around vacancy rate by looking at decentralizing the approach to managing vacancies, and the delegations are being reviewed, so that will help us in terms of managing the appointments of vacancies. I think in the next couple of quarters we should be able to see some improvement. And then with program 3 EPWP, I think a lot has been said. There's a slide on that shows the geographical spread. I think what's most important there, Chair and honorable members, is just the work opportunities that have improved, sitting at work opportunities of 68%. That basically is about 649,911 work opportunities are represented. Now, when you convert that into a full-time equivalent, we're sitting at 37% in the first 2 quarters. So then the geographical spread also raises in terms of the environmental sectors and the culture sector, infrastructure sector, social sector, and the non-state sector. And then I think there's also improvement on the community of practice, which is held as a part of EPWP to improve the participation and looking at forging exit pathways for NPOs to participate and also improve on the EPWP and work opportunities side. And then on the legislative program 4, Chair, I think there's improvement. We're working on a review of policies, as well as ensuring that the legislative approach speaks also to the parliamentary program, but as well as looking at the legal aspect of it, the legislative aspect and the legal, and the SAYAS, which is through the Department of Public Planning, Monitoring and Environment, to ensure that the socio-economic impact assessment is done in relation to ensure the congruence as well as alignment of those policies. Actually, if I go to just high-level PMTE, I think the major challenges that we're facing in PMTE would be in the construction and the real sector, estate management, which is the leasing portfolio. You would see that from slide 30 to slide 32 on the real estate, a lot of these are not quarterly reporting, but we have provided information on the progress, even though it's not a quarter target in terms of the APP, but at an operational activity-based level, we've provided progress. The major challenges that we're facing is basically issues around feasibility studies to determine the leases that can be converted into lease own. We're also looking at a review of the leases that have been signed to ensure that we meet our targets. I think in the quarter 3, quarter 4, we should have a better picture that then reflects the progress improvement or in the real estate. On facilities management, the major issues is contribution to the Green Building Council and dealing with the contribution to the green economy. There are also engagements with the HR as well as various components within the department to ensure that there's participation in the green building areas, such as management of waste in the construction, such as participation and training in the Green Building Council modules, and that will also assist us in contributing to the green economy. So these are some of the issues that we're experiencing, and from a high-level program, Chair, I think the picture will be clearer in that quarter when we present this as we conclude the 3 quarters, and most of these targets will then be reported in terms of service delivery and impact from quarter 3 up until quarter 4. Chair, that's just a high level. Apologies for the outage and the technical glitches. My apology once more to Chair and members, and also to the executive of the department. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mdakane. You can continue.
No, Chair, we have finished, Chairperson.
Okay, on my program, I have the presentation of the Department of Public Works. Then I've got the presentation from the IDT, and then followed by the Construction Industry Development Board. So there's three separate presentations. Can we now please continue with the second presentation? That's the IDT's presentation, if I'm not missing anything here. If they're not ready, then we can move on to the presentation of the CIDB.
Greetings, Chair.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you. You're very welcome. Let's continue.
Thank you, Chair. I've got Christopher Mulazi, who will then flight our presentation. Good morning, Chair, and good morning, Minister, members of the committee, and my colleagues. It's a privilege, and we thank you that you've invited us to present our midterm performance for the 25-26 financial year. We really, Chairperson and members of the committee, value this forum, both for accountability as well as partnership in strengthening infrastructure delivery. Let me also acknowledge the leadership that's present. DG, Mr. Sfiso Mdagane, the chairperson of the CIDB, Mr. Khulile Nzo, CEO of the CIDB, Mr. Bongani Dladla, all DTGs, senior officials, and executives from DPWI and sister entities. Chairperson and members of the committee, you haven't met our acting CEO, but I'd like to introduce our acting CEO, who's been seconded from the CIDB. The acting CEO is Sfiso Nzimande. His financial and operational experience gives us great stability in this time. As you are well aware, our current CEO is on suspension and she's going through a disciplinary process. So we're very grateful to the chairperson of the CIDB as well as the CEO who have agreed to the secondment of their CFO, who's Sfiso Nzimande. So this showcases, I think, for us and as well as the industry, the partnership that exists within DPWI. We have great support from the ministry as well as the department, and we also have great support from our sister entities. The team that joins me from the CIDB is Ms. Nzimande, as mentioned. We've got our CFO, Mr. Londoloza Songwevu. We've also got Executive of Corporate Services, Ms. Vangile Nene. We've got the acting PMSU executive, Ms. Sana Sabito. We've also got strategy and planning GM, Mr. Christopher Mulazi, who will take us through the presentation. And we've also got our stakeholder relations manager, Ms. Lerato Modisana. Chairperson, it's well-known fact that the IDT is in the midst of a deliberate and a necessary turnaround. So it's not business as usual for us as the board, it's a reset. Our second quarter performance reflects both inherited challenges as well as early signs of progress under new leadership, which joined the IDT in July of 2025. The IDT, we manage a national portfolio of about 5.7 billion with 2,260 projects at various stages of delivery. In the last quarter, we completed 28 facilities contributing to education, health, and justice outcomes across communities. Our pressures are also well known, and we know them well as a board, which is our management fee pressure. And our management fee, chairperson and portfolio committee members, comes from our expenditure. So our management fee is below sustainable levels, and we are also looking at our resources because our expenditure is obviously above our management fee, which is not ideal, and that's where the deficit comes from. I mean, there's various operational items which the team will talk about, which is resulting in this deficit. But our main issue is how low our management fee is as a result of a non-optimal expenditure. Our liquidity constraints are real. The minister spoke about our travels to KZN because we've got a stakeholder management scheme that we're trying to do where we're traveling to all the provinces to ensure that we receive monies owed to us. The monies have started to come. We have started to see some monies coming from KZN, and we're thankful for the minister's support in that visit. Engagements with DPWI on short-term support are underway. They have been historically supportive, and we understand they too have pressures on their side as well, but we are hopeful that they'll be able to continue to support us in whatever meaningful way. They do support us with staff, so it's not only money that we see support from DPWI. From a board perspective, we are driving stabilization on several fronts to support the executive team. Our focus is on ensuring a healthy project book because the IDT earns its management fee from expenditure as mentioned. At present, our expenditure is not at optimal, so we do need to enhance our business development activities and ensure that we maintain good relationships with our current clients and also get new clients on board. So what we're trying to do as a board, as well as the executive management, is to ensure that we become the key delivery for all of government. On the governance front, we've moved with urgency. Audit reform has been elevated as a strategic priority. We've strengthened controls. We continue to strengthen controls. We're revising our audit action plan and introducing property audits in key areas like leases and even some of our big projects. The recent audit outcome is a key reminder of what must be corrected, and we're treating it as a catalyst for long-term stability. Beyond the numbers, Chairperson and committee members, our work has a human purpose. Every project is a classroom, a clinic, a hall, a tangible improvement in people's lives. We're repositioning the IDT around 3 pillars: delivery excellence, financial sustainability, and client confidence. So this includes sharpening project management, strengthening collaboration with client departments, and rebuilding trust through transparency and accountability. And with your permission, Chairperson, I now invite our acting CEO, Mr. Nsibande, to present the detailed performance report. As Fiso, you can go ahead.
Thank you. Please continue.
Chris, we don't actually have the presentation. We can only see your computer at this point. Acting CEO, we're just waiting for you now.
So what's going on here, colleagues?
Chris? Am I audible?
Yes, you are, but I don't see him on the platform anymore. Can you or someone else please proceed, Chair?
Londoloza?
Yes, I'm here as Chair. I can start with the non-performance, non-financial part.
Thank you, Chris. I'll get hold of CISO.
All right. May I proceed?
Please proceed. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, honourable members, Minister and colleagues from Minister, members of the Select Committee, colleagues from the department, the CIDB, and my colleagues from IDT. I'm going to I'm going to be brief because of time constraints, but I'll start by explaining the defining environment, the environment that defined our performance during the first and second quarter. So I'm going to focus on specific slides. So I'm going to, this is the background, I'm going to focus on slide 8. I'm going to move on from slide 8 to other slides. So this slide 8 simply focuses on our performance during the period under review. So in terms of how we have performed, we were affected by a number of things in our operating environment. First, there was a delayed confirmation of the budget allocation, and which forced our clients to reprioritize their budgets, and this affected the commencement for our planned project scope as well as the procurement schedules that and timelines for our projects. So there were that delays that actually explains some of our rather low levels of performance. So in terms of the other issue was the performance, the withdrawal of projects by clients, which has quite a big impact on the size of our portfolio. For example, I think we lost over 2 billion rands in terms of just actual portfolio. And when it translates into program expenditure, it's about a loss of 800 million rands in potential program expenditure and 120 million rands in terms of management fee that we could have generated from that. So that in a nutshell explains how we have performed in terms of the defines our performance environment both for the first quarter and the second quarter. So for the first quarter, as you can see, we on slide 9, we met only 32% of our targets. For the second quarter, it went up a little bit to about 36%, which is on slide 12. I hope the slides are moving as I speak.
Yeah, it is. You can continue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So this is a summary of our performance for the second quarter. This is slide number 14, I think. So it just gives us a sense of what is contained in our scorecard. So we haven't done well in terms of our empowerment targets, as you can see. There's the contractor development programs. That's the one that has many reds in those scorecards, as represented in slides 17, 18, 16, 17, and 18. So we haven't done very well in terms of those in terms of our empowerment targets, implementation of the contractor development program, and this has a lot to do with the withdrawal of business that I spoke about and the inability of our clients to allocate projects to this particular program. Where we have done reasonably well is with respect to opportunities that are created through the IDT, work opportunities that are created through the IDT program, as well as the expanded public works programs, as we can see at the bottom right corner, bottom right of this particular slide. So we have done quite well in terms of work opportunities, EPWP, as well as those that are created through the IDT portfolio. So I shall now move to highlight in detail what I've just spoken about. So this slide here, just simply slide 14, simply indicates how we have performed in terms of the detailed performance for quarter 1 and 2. So I'm not going to go into it in detail. I shall now move to this particular one, the reds that I've just highlighted with respect to empowerment targets, that the contractor development programs. This program, this is the actual picture of how we have done for quarter 1 and 2. So nothing has happened in terms of great performance, and that has a lot to do with the withdrawal of projects and programs by client departments, some of whom reprioritize their programs to allocate funds elsewhere. So this is the picture in terms of work opportunities. So this is the picture also in terms of the value of confirmed business. We're quite reasonable. We did quite reasonably well, but we haven't done well in terms of generating new business, particularly during the second quarter. And this is also contained in the slides that I highlighted earlier. The vacancy rate, we are doing quite well. We haven't collected much in terms of management fee collected. There was a bit of an improvement during the second quarter. And this, in terms of compliant and program invoices, overhead and program invoices, we also haven't done well. And that is also related to how much expenditure we were able to make during the reporting period. So this concludes the non-financial aspect of the presentation. I shall hand over to Mr. Songwevu, who is our CFO, to continue with the rest of the presentation.
Thanks, Chris. May I ask you that you continue to flash the slides, and I'll indicate the slide number.
Okay.
Good morning.
Thank you, team. Mr. Sfiso is here, if you don't mind, Londoloza. And he can then just say a few words and you can continue. Sfiso? I don't believe his network, I think his network is failing him. You can continue, Londoloza.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning, Honorable Chairperson of the committee, as well as the honorable members. Good morning, Minister. Good morning, Deputy Minister, and to all my colleagues. Honorable Chairperson, I will also just highlight some of our financial challenges, looking at the time that we have. And I'll start on slide 24, Chair, where I link the presentation just made by my colleague Chris in terms of not meeting our targets for infrastructure spending. So in terms of the first 2 quarters, we have underspent at around 850 million rands. Now that translates to this 36 million, Chairperson, that you mentioned in your opening, the 36 million deficit that we've managed to achieve at the end of the second quarter. This has an extra burden on our finances, Chairperson. We've started the year on a back foot, and unfortunately, because of these developments, the situation has not improved much. Maybe, Chris, if you go to slide 29. So on slide 29, Chairperson, is just an indication of, just go to the slide. Yes. Chairperson, our solvency situation, the chairperson of the board did indicate, really is our biggest concern. And the main cause, Chairperson, is that, a large portion of our cash is sitting with the trade debtors. You will note, Chairperson, that at the end of the second quarter, we owed 108 million by our client departments in terms of our management fees. Now, this amount has more or less been the same since the beginning of the year, or as reported in our financial statements as at the end of the 2024-25 financial year. The chairperson did mention that there's been instances where we've engaged our stakeholders on a regular basis to try and ensure that at least a portion or a large portion of this amount is paid to us. I would also want to echo the chairperson of the board's assertion that we have started seeing progress. For example, in Limpopo, which is our largest debtor, last week we did enter into a resolution with the Department of Education that side because they owe us around 55 million. So the HOD has committed to ensuring that we get a large portion of that amount before the end of the year. So we are hopeful, Chairperson, that we are starting to see a turnaround as we approach the end of the financial year or quarter four. If we then maybe, Chris, we move to, maybe let me also highlight, Chairperson, while we're on this slide, that you will note that at the end of the quarter, which is quarter two, our bank balance was around 2 million. This was one of the reasons, Chairperson, that at the end of October, we unfortunately were not able to pay our salaries at the on the date of the salary run, which is the 25th. Chairperson, we managed to avoid this situation at the end of November, so we can at least provide that feedback. And we are now working towards ensuring that we also avoid not paying on time the December salaries. The challenge that we may have, Chairperson, for December is that in terms of our policy, we need to pay December salaries by the 15th of December. Now, it gives us a pretty much short period between the 25th of November and the 15th of December for us to then ensure that we avoid a situation where we are late with our salaries. And Chairperson, this is where our request for the grant becomes very important. We have been working with the department, and we really appreciate their efforts to try and find funds to support the IDT. I think we have finally found each other. It's just a matter of finalizing the process, and then we get feedback from the department. We are hopeful that this will happen very soon, and we really urge and ask and request the department to also just finalize this process, because indeed for December it might be a challenge for us. But we are working, Chairperson, towards ensuring that we avoid a situation where salaries are not paid on the 15th of December. Maybe if we go to slide 32, Chris. Chairperson, this slide really is to highlight the reason why our solvency situation is critical. It indicates that we are not in a position to pay a majority of our service providers. We owe service providers 74 million as at the end of Q2, and the top 10 of them make up 65 million of that 74 million. And what makes the situation even worse, Chairperson, again, it's aligned to what we are owed by our client departments. We've been owing these service providers for quite some time now, for more than 90 days. And most of them are also coming from the end of the previous year. Because of our cash situation, we have not been able to really settle these particular creditors. They have started, Chairperson, to issue us with letters of demand. In fact, in October and in November, we started getting the sheriff coming to our different offices to attach some of our assets, including our bank statement or bank balance, Chairperson, or bank account, sorry. My apologies there. So the situation really is that we need to start paying these service providers. Otherwise, Chairperson, we are trading recklessly as an entity, because we do continue to operate. We do continue to require some of these service providers for us to continue as an organization. Chairperson, I think maybe in terms of our finance and our cash flow status, maybe Chris, if you go to the next slide with the cash flow, these are the areas that I needed to just elevate and highlight, Chairperson, because in terms of our performance at the end of the second quarter, it is to really highlight the issue of our solvency. In other words, us being in a position where we are able to pay our service providers when those invoices become due. And yeah, maybe let me pause there, Chairperson, and allow the CEO to take us through the governance structures. Chair, I'm not sure if the CEO is now able to connect and we can hear him, because I saw him earlier, he was unmuted, but we couldn't hear him.
Yes, he is in the meeting, but I think he's struggling with heavy rains, apparently. Apologies, Chair, committee members and Minister. He seems to be struggling where he is with heavy rains. Could we ask Chris or yourself, Honorable Rosa, to continue? Because I believe that he's trying to speak, but we can't hear him.
Yeah, I'll ask Chris maybe to assist with the governance matters, Chair. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Dr. Loza and members of the committee. This just shows, it's just a governance, the matters with respect to the board. As the chairperson spoke earlier, or said earlier, the board, the IDT has been going through quite a number of challenges, and that has necessitated a number of meetings since this board came into office, I think in about July. So it has had to come and hold a number of meetings where it meant, as part of stabilizing the organization in all its facets, that is in governance committees, setting up governance committees, governance structures, both at management level. And one of the things that happened at that time was the appointment of a new acting CEO, I think in August, who has since left after 3 months and has now been replaced by Mr. Nsibande, who has just arrived. So the last meeting that we had was that of the Special Audit and Risk Committee compliance meeting. So the board presided over the annual performance report, which was actually completed before by a different board, which was presided over by a completely different board. But it took responsibility for much of the governance work, much of the completion of the work related to the annual financial statements and the non-financial aspects of the report. And that meant interacting very seriously, very regularly with the Auditor General, and that, in a nutshell, summarizes the status with respect to governance matters and what the board was seized with during the reporting period. I thank you. Thank you, Chair. I've completed my part.
Thank you. Thank you very much, team. And thank you, Chair, for indulging us and committee members. That is the presentation from IDT. We will...
Ms. Hill, you muted now?
Oh, apologies. We've got a full team. It is unfortunate that our acting CEO is unable to be audible. He is in the meeting, but we hand over back to you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Let us take the CIDB presentation as well. We're slightly behind time, but let us give them their due to do their presentation as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think in the light of time, I'll be very quick and perhaps just hand over to the CEO to do the full presentation. Greetings to yourself, Chair. Greetings to the committee members, to the Minister and the Deputy Minister and the colleagues at Public Works. Chair, I think we had provided the presentation, and I think you touched on a very important subject on the summit that we presented about a few weeks ago, which also assists us in shaping our direction into the future, Chairperson. I think many issues and resolutions were taken, and those guide us in terms of what we need to report on and in terms of the issues that we need to tackle. And lately, you will have noticed, especially today, the CEO has been on the public media again around the issues of the construction and the contractors that are not performing, that are being terminated. And I think there's been a huge complaint from the KZN Department of Transport, and the CEO has been fielding those interviews. Again, it's part of the work that we had already been doing. So it just goes to show how we need to accelerate some of these things, Chair. And I think without further ado, let me pass on to the CEO to actually finalize the presentation. I think it's a brief one, Chair, and we've just touched on the main issues over the year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dladla. Please continue.
Honorable Chairperson, honorable members of the committee, Minister, Deputy Minister, and all colleagues, thank you very much for the opportunity to be able to present our half-year result as a CIDB. Our presentation outline. As a performance summary, we have 21 targets for the year, and in Q1, 7 of those were due. In Q2, we had 10, and our respective performance was 85% for Q1 and 80% for Q2. And the targets that were not met, I will go maybe more into those details of those ones and our recovery plan as we intend to achieving 100% target for the year under review. In research and development, we are working on a research study that is going to assist us to designing tailor-made training programs for contractors, especially SMME, around asserting their contractual rights in contracts, because a lot of projects also fail due to that. So as part of the overall build program, that is the research that we are undertaking in this quarter. The next research that we are working with the department is also in looking how they can improve systems around project failures and termination, looking at the root causes, as also as part of the SACEP program that the minister announced. We have achieved in terms of, because again, we are also working into improving compliance against a target of 92%. We've achieved 100% on the contravention notices, and we've had to strengthen our IGR processes here, including increasing the team to focus more also on ensuring that there is compliance to the various regulations and working with the government, various government departments. Another target, honorable members, that we did not meet was on ensuring staff complement of
a vacancy rate of less than 10%. I think that was our target, but we were doing some adjustments to our structure to align to our new strategy, but we are meeting that target now, and we've concluded a few appointments that will assist the CIPB in being more efficient. Honorable members, in terms of our other interventions, we've achieved on the transformation interventions and reported those to the board on both quarters, on quarters 2 and the development program, which I will highlight also earlier on. And we've had the capacitation session on 206 infrastructure clients on the various prescripts, and are adding a new one after the minister's webinar now that will happen later today on also social facilitation and starting the process of institutionalize that work that was there. As I indicated, the 2 targets where we have underperformed are on the vacancy rates, which some offers we had to headhunt because some of the offers were not accepted by colleagues, but are looking into meeting this target in this quarter 3, and then the literature review on that research work I had indicated has already been completed. Other highlights, and I'm not going to go into too much details, on day 1 of the National Construction Summit that was called by Minister and Deputy Minister, and grateful to the honorable members that participated also to enhance the event and the program, attracted on day 1 alone over 1,200 delegates, which meaningfully contributed to the various resolutions which I am beaming here. And again, the important one is having a unified performance improvement framework, including performance reporting, not only of contractors, but also of clients, because clients play a very significant role in project successes. And those were some of the initiatives. And then, Chairperson, please mute yourself, Chair. Sorry, apologies, Chairperson. Yeah. And then we also have to accelerate the implementation of the build program, which is a key lever for enterprise development, and as called also by this committee in our last engagement. I think Honorable Kaunda raised this point, reinforced by targeting 1,000 construction management systems, which we saw the first graduate. Those are fundamental in changing the nature of this business for their growth, and then beneficiaries of the training programs around the skills development standards to also be implemented. Another exciting one that came through, which we'll implement in this financial year, is the digital skills map interventions, working with other entities that are investing significantly on skills development, so we know where we are. And the Deputy Minister Zikalala is heading up the outreach programs on the contractor development. And the importance of this one is also, it is not only just training, classroom training, but it's attaching training programs with opportunities on the ground. So we're working with various infrastructure clients. The minister has talked about the social facilitation framework, which he was gazetted, but now it's the issues of training and other areas around digital innovation and improving the public works mandate. The key again here to this declaration was also looking at issues around what else needs to be done to turbocharge the construction industry, and the recommendations are summarized as below here. We also held the ERWIC programs, which is also supporting women in construction by advocacy roles that we have to play as a CIDB to celebrate those that are doing well, and also link those opportunities also in the construction industry by getting them into rooms with infrastructure clients. I had indicated Deputy Minister Zikalala is heading up the National Contractor Development Framework, which has already gone to KZN in Pietermaritzburg, where it started, and Northern Cape. And there's a lot, what is unique about this approach that we are taking now is really linking training opportunities to compliance, support, and actual projects on the ground. So when we go to these areas, we go with large infrastructure clients that have National Contractor Development Framework. And this is really becoming a significant demand as other areas are calling for such. And we had committed to concluding this for all areas within a year, for all provinces. And we continue to support academic institutions, and also to enhance the regulations that are being proposed, have hosted various stakeholder engagement sessions. I think we've done 2 so far in KZN and Gauteng. And then obviously we have to work on our organizational culture. The big one for us that we need to watch carefully, and I've moved this program to our office with additional staff members, is on the build program, the implementation of that, as this is continuing to grow. On the developmental finance, with CIDP has committed the 42 million, added, so we've paid over 100 million to SITFA, and I have met with also the new team at SITFA to conclude the memorandum, the lending criteria, as the memorandum has already been signed. It's the lending criteria so that we can see the rollout of this. But also, as part of the summit resolutions, we were asked to diversify, those are industry stakeholders, to also involve more of also the private sector that can also give us speed in terms of lending to us SMMEs in a developmental manner. The one major one where we need to conclude our partnerships with universities for training is on the training initiatives, and the board will be considering this in the weeks to come. So in January, we are aiming to see large-scale training initiatives in all provinces. Also, on the gaps that we identified during the course of the year when we're doing assessment of prior learnings to over 1,000 contractors. On governance, we are the two areas that we are working with, and we will ask the committee to also support us in, is on the non-compliance of infrastructure clients to the register of projects, and also enhancing our legal processes to really punish those that needs to be punished, or reward those that are doing well, because this denies the industry a full view of, this is not internal CITP, but external full view of what is happening in the construction sector, so that cases like the one that was reported earlier in KZN of failing projects can be identified earlier, rather than identifying them later. We have a new board that has been appointed, and within days of appointment, the minister inducted those board members, and will continue with the induction tomorrow and day after tomorrow. CIDP, we are working towards a clean audit because the one aspect that was raised, we feel we are resolving it. And are also continuing in terms of looking at our audit implementation plan. In terms of our income, out of a budget that we had anticipated for Q2 of 184 million, we've been able to collect 210 million, and the significant differences were also increasing efforts around the collections of build, and also improving our system through our online systems in terms of concluding applications far quicker than the 21 days that is legislated, where we're at an average of 14 days now. And then also the second aspect was also on investment income, where that was doubled. We benefited from a higher interest rate than was anticipated then, but that has reduced, but we don't anticipate a problem. The entire surplus that we see will be dedicated towards training programs. We are aiming to add another 150 million rand at the end of the financial year towards the development programs. But we are also fundraising with other entities, including Department of Labor, CETA, and others, so that we can have a unified, interventions when it comes to training and development in the construction industry. That is a summary of our presentation, honorable members, and thank you again. We are quite happy to take any questions and direction from the committee, as has happened in the past. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We much appreciate that, Honourable Minister. Deputy Minister, is there anything that you'd like to add before we go on to deliberations?
Not from my side, Chair. Maybe the DM may want to add something, but we'll eagerly await the questions and comments.
Thank you, Minister. DM, anything from your side?
No, greetings, Chair and the Minister and all colleagues and honorable members. May I comment now? If there is something I can participate in answering later. Thank you.
Thank you, DM. Much appreciated. Honourable members, there you have it. Let me just also apologize, honourable members. Sometimes we do have these days on online meetings where things don't go according to plan. It looks like the rain and Eskom and load shedding has interfered a lot with our presenters today. But thank you for your patience in this. I know that you all received the presentations beforehand, so I know that you've been following it diligently on your own presentations as well. Let us go over to deliberations, honourable members. Just another reminder that we are quite pressed for time. We do have to consider a bill after this session is finished. So let us try and make good our question time. With that, let's go over to Honourable Treza, and welcome to the meeting. I see you've joined us. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Greetings, Chair. Thank you very much for the presentation from the CIDP and the IDT. I just want to go directly to the question to the IDP. In light of the IDT's admission of insolvency, its inability to honor over 64 million owed to service providers, letters of demand, attachment threats, and a bank balance of only 2 million, which now jeopardizes salary payments. How does the department justify continuing with a dysfunctional implementing agent whose financial collapse directly undermines public infrastructure delivery, delays projects, and entrenches contractor flight, especially when Limpopo alone owes 55 million to the IDT? Further, what urgent intervention has the department put in place to ensure protection of workers' salaries, immediate settlement of historical debts to service providers, stabilization of the IDT's balance sheet, and prevention of asset attachment that threatens the IDT's operational continuity, given that its collapse represents a complete failure of the department to safeguard state capacity and infrastructure? The last one, Chairperson, would then go to the CIDP. Just hang on a bit. Given the steep, let me go to the CIDP. The last chair being the CIDP. Given that the CIDP's mid-year performance reveals persistent failure to deliver key research outputs, declining capacity due to unfilled funded posts, significant underspending on the build developmental budget, only 18% has been spent, ongoing partial implementation of audit corrective action with 82% of AXA findings still unresolved, and the major program underspending despite high governance and board cost. How does the department justify the entity's ability to regulate, transform and stabilize the construction industry as mandated, and what immediate measurable interventions will be implemented to ensure credible performance, full utilization of development funds, and strengthen governance by year end? Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Treza. That's very good time management. Let's go over to Honourable Skeerkogel for your question time, please.
We can go.
All right. Good morning, Chairperson. Let me just open here. All right. The first one is just for the department. As I said, some of the vacancy rates still seems a bit low. And the report attributes to this cost containment measures and the centralized HR department. I just want to find out, how has the department have they finalized?
Give me a second, Honourable Skeerkogel. Sorry, Honourable Treza, if you can just mute your device. You at the moment.
Certainly, Chair. I'm trying to get there now.
Thank you.
Sorry for the disturbance.
No problem.
Profusely apologize.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Just a moment, please.
Please continue,
struggling here.
Thank you, Chairperson. So has the department finalized the electronic recruitment platform that was mentioned so that they can bring the vacancy rate lower? Then with the department's targets of 50% women and 3% with people with disabilities at senior management level. So it seems that it only reported that it's about 39% women and 1.6% in the second quarter. So have they implemented any targeted recruitment capacity initiatives that are planned to address these targets to be met? And then I want to go to the IDT chairperson. So now that we've seen that some of the I think the chairperson said that they are doing a reset, and we've seen that the business portfolio have shrank year on year, and what do they think was the factors that contributed to the decline, and what steps are now being set, like the presenter, the lady that spoke, that said that they are trying to reset, and what are they doing to rebuild it? Then by the end of the second quarter, about 32% of the project was still in initial phase, and about 44% has closed out. How will the IDT ensure that new projects progress will go beyond that new projects progress beyond initiation, and that they find a sustainable mix so that these projects can stay active and then they can be completed? Then, Chairperson, I want to go to the CIBD. So the CIBD's build budget, they allocated 42 million to development initiatives, but it seems like they've only met about 18% of the have been spent by the end of September 2025. So what were the reasons for the slow spending, and what plans exist to accelerate skills development and to ensure that the enterprise support that these projects are supported by year end? And then my last question also for the CIBD. So the CIDB received an unqualified audit opinion, but only 18% of the Auditor General findings have been addressed. So there's about 82% still unresolved. So do the management have a timeline to set to implement all the outstanding audit recommendations, and how is progress being monitored to strengthen internal controls? And for that, Chair, I will rest on that now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honourable Minister, through you to the department, can we get responses to those two sets of questions?
Thank you very much, Chair. And Honourable Kaiser, there's only so much that the department can do with regards to the IDT. In business, if someone doesn't pay you, do you blame the business, or do you blame the debtor? And I think that we must be fair to apportion blame to clients who hold back or refuse to pay the IDT, or who shift their budgets midway. And I think that there needs to be a shared and accountable and a shared and directed blame. And we do everything that we can to get that money in, including myself going to provinces, asking MECs to please make sure that that money is paid. And we have also, with respect, asked Parliament to assist us, to say, call these departments in. You have the power to do so, and demand the payments to IDT so that we can pay contractors. But if people don't pay the IDT, what do we do? And that is the very difficult position that the IDT finds itself in. In fact, actually what government is doing by not taking action against these departments and clients is actually incentivizing wrong behavior, so that you can get away with it by not paying. Now, we are starting to take a different approach. We are starting to say, and there's a court case that's coming up, and I've given instruction now, where we are going to join the the court case. So a contractor is now taking action against us for not paying them because the client has not paid us. So we're going to join that court case, Chair, and we are going to join it as a friend, and we are going to ask the court to order the client department, another government department, to pay us so that we can pay them, and we're going to see costs against that client department now, because that's what we have been reduced to now, is that unless clients pay us the money that is duly owed, we then sit in a position that we cannot pay people, and it's unfair to contractors. Why must contractors not get paid? Because client departments don't want to pay us what they duly owe us. And so we're going to set an example where we are going to join the court case. We are going to ask for an order against the client that refuses to pay us, so it will compel them to pay us. And then we will ask that they pay the costs of that so that we can finalize it. I think that that's absolutely the right thing to do, so we can make sure that contractors deservingly get that money. We've also engaged with National Treasury, but again, not with much success, to try and get funding for the IDT. In fact, I'll ask Mr. Sotole, the CFO, to maybe respond to that. But we have asked the IDT to be able to make additional funding available to that. Colleagues, honourable members will recall when I got that letter out of the blue from an official in Treasury who said, by the way, we've taken the decision to shut IDT down. And both the Deputy Minister and I were so alarmed by that we got a letter like that from the officials without any consultation. So, you know, they're able to write letters to us saying that, but they're not able to respond to our financial requests. But let me allow the CFO to deal with that. I think actually that the department has done everything that it can. In fact, it's made payments earlier to the IDT to try and assist them. And I think that in the circumstances, we've done everything that we can and continue to do to try and find a solution for the IDT. Let me say, Honourable Skierkogel, that in terms of vacancies, we have been very focused on filling SMS vacancies, and we've done so with a number of them. We have more. Hopefully that will be approved by the end of this week. And we are in the midst of interviews for follow-up ones. And there is also, we are on now a recruitment drive to fill vacancies under that. I think there's about 268, if my memory serves me right, that we are advertising and recruiting for. So I'll hand over to the DG and maybe the CFO for other responses there. Thank you. And then obviously the CIDB can respond to those questions that were posed to them on IDT. Thanks, Chair.
Maybe, thank you very much, Minister. In respect of the e-recruitment that was raised by Honourable Eagle, we want to indicate that the process will begin in January 2026. Currently, we are busy with a process of working on the system customization. And I believe as soon as that is done, we will then obviously update the committee. And I can then ask the CFO to just answer on what the Minister has just raised. Thank you very much.
Please continue.
CFO.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister. I had a network problem. So just to add, Chairperson, on IDT, what the department is doing to support IDT, we have actually set aside about 50 million to support IDT. There is a budget management committee that will be looking at that because we had to send back the request of IDT because we were scrutinizing certain line items. Once the budget committee has endorsed the request of IDT, we will then subject the request to National Treasury because only Treasury has authority to approve any transfer to any entity. I must say, Chair, we had to really look for money within our baseline, which means we are sacrificing certain programs because we really want to make sure that employees of IDT continue to get salaries on a monthly basis as we were directed by the minister. Thank you.
May I go ahead?
Please continue.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and thank you for the questions from the honorable members. In terms of our media performance and the challenges that have been guided, in terms of the vacancy rates, we are improving quarter to quarter and have signed quite a number of appointments to close those gaps. As you would have seen, there would have been many adverts that had gone out, and we are filling those positions. So we anticipate that we will be above the threshold of 90% when we close the quarter, this current quarter. And then also are aiming, obviously our target is always 100% so that we can account even if there are certain resignations, we still meet also the target and deliver on this. In terms of the audit findings, the ones that have been raised, honorable members, for us to get the unqualified audit with adjustments, we had to, even in the year under review, correct some of those, especially in areas that related to disclosures in the financial statement, in terms of related parties and the budget statements. And these findings were received at the end of the audit, so after July, and are working on our audit action plan to close those. We anticipate those ones that are short-term in nature, for instance, those ones that exclude, for instance, change your act to clarify a position of the private sector. 80% of those ones will be dealt with by the time we close the year. The audit committee is overlooking that closely. And in terms of the slow pace of expenditure on the development component, we've entered into contracts now, usually, as opposed to going to individual training initiative one by one. We've entered into panels of trainings for the various training needs, like on CMSs, APLs with multiple service providers, so that as we receive a high need of training request, we can provide that. But one major challenge that we faced that we're not anticipating was, for instance, when we have set up training initiatives like on construction management systems, and you sometimes get no-shows, or people send, for instance, junior staff members, like someone would send an administrator to say, go and attend the register. And we've also had to battle with some requests, for instance, where big businesses like a grade 5 company are saying for us to attend the training will require a stipend, which our position was as a CIDB. You know, these are tools to enhance these businesses, and some of them are large businesses. So we need to spend as much money towards the training. But with the Deputy Ministers also road shows, it is helping to market the training initiatives that are there. And now we are having people that can give the direct testimonial of the benefits of some of this training. So we are hoping that our recruitment drives will be much easier compared to before. And so those were the issues that were raised, Chairperson, and we are watching those quite closely because we are still aiming for 100% performance at the end of the financial year.
Chair, if I may come in as well?
Yes, Mr. Mzulu, please continue.
Thank you, Chair. There's the part that I would want to supplement around the development finance that is not where the expenditure is low. And I must admit to the committee that we're having challenges, Chair, because I think from a CIDB perspective, we are not equipped to manage funds that we've collected from the Build Fund. And we took a decision that we will allow another entity to actually manage those funds for us to ensure that the development aspect is fulfilled. And again, we also try to use other public entities that we can associate and partner with. And what we did is we approached CITFA, that already does the financing to manage those funds, to ensure that those funds are secured and that they can actually be returned into the industry and safeguarded with that entity. Chair, we must admit that that partnership has not gone well, and that is the main reason that we have not had the expenditure that we wanted in that regard. A few weeks ago, I had to brief the minister as well, and we've decided to take action against CITFA. It looks like we might have to terminate the partnership as we are not happy ourselves in terms of their commitment in ensuring that those funds are spent and thus affecting our expenditure. So I thought I'd needed to give that context as well, that we are struggling to find the partnerships that we need in ensuring that those funds are being spent. It means now we need to look at different avenues to ensure that those funds are actually spent and plowed back into the industry. Thank you, Chair. I thought I should provide that clarity as well.
If I may go, Chair.
Yes, now I took the visual cue. Your camera was on, Ms. Hill. Please continue.
Thank you very much. Chair, we were asked two questions by Honorable Ikbo, and I thought I'll answer one, and then the next one will be answered by Executive PMSU. On the first one, which is on our expenditure, declining expenditure. In the historical years, Honorable Ikbo, it probably was two ways. One is systematic, and it's the environment. We know that budgets to departments have been slashed. So that's one issue. The other environmental issue is that when clients then decide to shift budgets, they stop projects partway, and those projects then carry over, which means that our expenditure has been reduced further. The third one, which we are anticipating, because when we are restoring governance, we will start to see a sifting internally. We've got lifestyle audits happening, and we've got a board which has got incredible skills, and we've started to ensure that we are not only a strategic oversight, but we provide incredible support to our acting CEO. So we will start to see some destabilization internally. People will start to leave, and therefore there'll be an uncomfortable uncertainty as we restore the governance. Our book is largely relational in some instances because it's relationships built in province and it's relationship built by PMSU in national. So with that, there are some projects which will either be cancelled, not because we can't do the job, but because the relationship has now left the building. So we are looking at that. It hasn't happened yet, but it's something that we anticipate. So we've then strengthened our stakeholder engagement, and we've got quite an orderly way of going province to province, supporting the provincial management, whether it's permanent or it's acting, to ensure that we showcase what we do and our projects are not necessarily aligned to personalities. And that's some of our business growth. So we do expect some hard times in the near term, but we are hopeful that as the board and as well as a very strong acting CEO currently, we're going to be able to stabilize the entity within the next 6 to 18 months. But I would be lying if we didn't anticipate some of other intentional or unintentional destabilization within the entity. And then the other issue, I guess, is perception of risk, and the more we go on our stakeholder management, the more we're able to showcase that we have delivered projects, as you saw in our Q2 report. So regardless of the things that are out in the media, there are people within IDT who continue to do the job that they have been assigned to do, and they continue to deliver on the projects, particularly our professional staff. Now, we have an issue that we're looking at quite sharply as a board, which is how our core versus non-core, the tilting versus non-core in our income statement, and we're looking at staffing and ensuring that we get professionalized staff as a priority. I will now hand over to Sana, who's our executive PMSU, to then answer the question on the projects, the project-specific question.
Chair, good morning. Can I come in?
Yes, please.
Continue.
Just for the earlier connectivity issue to the members of the committee, the chairperson of the IDT, and the deputy ministers, minister of public works. I think just to add on what the chair have indicated primarily around the issues of the turnaround strategy. I think the chair did cite the issues of the board as well as the management being involved in the strengthening of our client engagement. I think we are seeing a very visible board being able to actually go to the client and try to engage with the client. I think that is also being supported greatly by the minister. I think the minister did indicate that in KZN he was with us and we managed to even escalate our engagement to the MEC of Finance. And I think we did, after the post-meeting where the minister was involved with, we saw some bottlenecks being unlocked, where I think about 45 million was received from the Department of Education. I think that's the nature of the business that we're currently embarking on. The second initiative that we're taking, honorable members, we're also now embarking on what we call early escalation and intervention, where we deem a project is at risk, and we have actually availed the national office to be part of those escalation chairperson. Primarily the executive PMSU and myself as the CEO, where we become reachable by clients so that should there be any indication that a project is stalling, we are able to actually go and address those issues as early as possible before any matter is escalated further. That aspect of it, we are also moving quickly on ensuring that where there are bottlenecks within the delivery of infrastructure as well as the dispute, we are there quickly. We have introduced what we call a fast dispute resolution mechanism, where we also provide clear communication on a regular basis to our current client, and we're also making sure that from the head office point of view, which I think the change that we also introduced as we came in was to make sure that there's a central point of reporting insofar as IDT project delivery is within the head office. So that is also giving us a bit of control in how we deliver infrastructure, and also bring in a bit of uniformity on how we deliver. So we are now seeing the head office able to intervene quickly and able to come in and resolve issues of dispute. The fourth element is actually around issues of the planning and program execution. We are also focusing greatly pretty much around those issues, primarily around issues of advertisement, project delivery, as well as making sure that we also engage client on two issues. I think the chair did indicate that some of the confirmed books are due to the fact that budgets are being shifted. So we now are trying to involve as much as we can, primarily as we are now proceeding to tabling of the APP. So we're actually engaging with the client department around issues of making sure that as they are projecting to table the APPs, we're able to actually do proper communication, and that we have proper confirmed budget that will be linked to the APP as well as the relevant procurement plans, the chair. And of course, I think the issues of the restoring of the client confidence, we are greatly supported by the board in that aspect, and the minister as well, where we are actually reaching out to the client, because we do appreciate that we might have had a sort of an issue where our reputation as IDT took a bit of a hammering, but we're working very, very strongly with the support of the minister, as well as the deputy minister, as well as everyone involved, including the chair, in this regard, to actually move with speed in making sure that we retain our restoration process. And of course, the last part, we are of course, notwithstanding the fact that we are hamstrung in terms of our finances, but we are also bringing in leadership stabilization, where partnering with the likes of CIDB, we are bringing CIDB primarily around issues of the project and infrastructure delivery into our committees. And I think we're grateful for the support that we've received from CIDB and also other project management councils like SSC PMP, who are also availing certain skills for us through secondment to actually partner with us, primarily around issues of planning, project planning as well, and execution and project management. Chairperson, I think with that, I will then allow Sana to come through.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you. I think most of the questions have been covered by the Minister and CEO and the Chairperson. But on the project delivery, just to be brief, it's for us to ensure that our projects are completed on time. I think the key issue is with the continuous stakeholder engagement. It's very imperative from our side that we get those allocation budget in the beginning of the financial year. That will assist us as part of planning and the delivery on cash flow. This also supports the IDT cash flow and service providers cash flow. If allocation of funds that can align also with the full delivery model, that is the IDMS, that we get all the approval on time, and also the budget, the funds transfer, where there's payments, prompt payments, that is an emphasis that we will want our clients. So as part of the continuous stakeholder engagement, we working with our clients closely to say, let's work on other alternatives that can assist them in terms of the prompt payment and also the approval. So we have also bring in some alternatives in terms of contractual approvals that also take long as well from our client department that impacted on our delivery of projects, but we are working on those ones. The last part is also on the resource configuration. With all these changes that are happening within the organization, we are going through all the regional offices to look at the high impact regions and then to see how can we augment the current resources and supplement in terms of project delivery. Thank you, Chair. I think we'll end here.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Are there any more questions that we've missed? Doesn't look like it. Thank you very much.
I just wanted to...
Honorable Keza?
No, I just wanted to...
Honorable Keza, sorry. Let me continue. Let us take the questions from Honorable Peter Makasini and Honorable Kahunda that have also got their hands up. And then as soon as we dealt with those, we'll come back for a follow-up if any of your questions have been missed. But I do want to try and give as many of our members as possible a chance to engage. So let us go over to Honorable Peter. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chair. I've got only one question, my Honorable Chair, directed to all departments who are present here today. My question, Honorable Chair, emanates from the financial constraints that the department faces with. Most of the departments are overshadowed by a massive corruption created by some officials who know how to manipulate the finances of the department. Due to long service experience, my question is, Honorable Chair, how does your department manage or handle such virus of corruption into the department? What is the due process does your department follow? Typical example, can your department refer this select committee to any examples that the department did to follow such a due process, if there's any? I so thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Peter. Honorable Makasini.
Thanks, Chair. Greeting to the Ministry. Chairperson, I just want to check on the issue of the IDT, where they were talking about the job opportunity that they've created. And except the EPWP, they can explain to us with opportunities of job that have been created that can assist our people. Number two, on the issue of the sister department that they are owing them, except the Limpopo and the KZN roadshow, what are other provinces and departments that they are intending to make sure they paid? Because it seems this thing of the non-payment of the sister department, it affects the contractors. They will end up being blacklisted, not doing their work, not able to pay their workers, and their companies will end up being deregistered. What are the other plans except the roadshow that the minister is doing to make sure all the department, they do? What enforcement are they doing to make sure they do pay so that we avoid the issue of this nature not to happen again? Then on the issue of CIDB, the last time they appear in the select committee, we raised the issue of the application to the Labour Department that they have made, and there were no response. Is there any update regarding the application that they made to the Department of Labour so that they can access the fund that they requested to fund, if they can update us? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honourable Makasini and Honourable Peter. Honourable Minister, through you, let's take those sets of questions, please.
Thank you very much. We absolutely deplore any corruption or any allegations of corruption within our department, and we have taken very strong stances on where wrongdoing has been identified. But let me give you some examples. There were some very serious allegations that were made against the former Deputy Director General for Real Estate Management in the department. Those allegations were put to her, and she was unable to adequately be able to respond. And we were preparing to suspend her pending the outcome of investigation. And those, unfortunately, or fortunately, she left before that could be done. We have subjected the some of the top 10 most expensive leases in the department that we have assigned to the SIU, so we can get to the bottom of that. When there were allegations of wrongdoing in the IDT, it was myself who instituted a forensic investigation that led to the consequences that are all well known. We are currently processing a number of other HR matters that revolve around allegations of wrongdoing. So, I mean, that's just off of the top of my head, Honourable Peters, and I hope that you would join me in commending the department for dealing swiftly with matters of wrongdoing when they are raised with us, or when the public raises them with us. As I said, there's no home for corruption in this department. If you want to do that sort of thing, you can do it somewhere else, but certainly not in here, because you won't get away with it. Honourable Makasini, I will allow the allow the IDT to respond to you. Let me just say, of course, you know, we don't just see the IDT as a social implementer of infrastructure, but we also see it as a job creator by giving opportunities to contractors and developers to do work. That obviously goes hand in hand, ensuring that we can pay them on time. And I think that you've seen that we're working hard to try and rectify that. But again, let me underscore this point, that for as long as provincial departments or client departments don't pay the IDT, that is put at risk. And so the real bad person in the story is not the IDT, but it is the those that refuse to pay what is due to them, or withhold budgets or shift budgets. And I think that that's where our collective focus and collective anger and frustration should be. But through you, Chair, I will allow the IDT to respond to that, and maybe the GRC may want to respond also further to Honourable Peters. Thanks.
Thank you, Minister. I think on just to respond on the issue of IDT, I think also to add on the Minister's issue on how we are managing issues of fraud and corruption. I think from IDT perspective as well, we have, I think through the blessings of the Minister, as well as the board, we have subjected all our senior managers, Chair, to what is called lifestyle audit, so that at least one, we are able to ascertain the credibility of their financial status, so that should there be any issues that could be picked up early and give us an early warning on issues of control that we need to pick up as IDT. So I think that was already been done by the Minister. And I think in terms of the issues of the engagement with the clients and how we are proceeding as IDT, definitely we do appreciate and sensitive to the fact that we need to be on the road. We of course we do appreciate the support that was given by the Minister, and it did yield a positive result for us, and I think we are forever grateful. And because of that, we managed to get about 45 million back to our kitty, and that particular receivable was able to service the contractors. But we're on the road as well. We have actually engaged with the clients in Free State, and I think they were also seeing sort of a positive result coming from that particular province as well, where there's commitment that's been made. We have also forecast mainly within those ones who were owing us a lot of money, primarily around Limpopo, where we also have seen and met with the relevant department, primarily education, where we were being owed about 54 million, and we managed to actually work around issues of the agreement and signed the MOA, which was signed yesterday. And with that, we are seeing a reduction in terms of how much we're owing us by 27 million, which is payable this month. So I think we are putting our foot on the ground. We also have been to Eastern Cape as well, where we saw some media coverages as well around the IDT, and we're also engaged with the relevant stakeholder in that region. And we're also, as we're engaging on two issues. One, issues of the collection, and of course, issues of the pipeline for next year. We are grateful to say that there's sort of a good positive indication coming from Eastern Cape as well. Tomorrow we will be going to Northwest. Then on Thursday we will be going to Kimberley as well, continuing with those roadshows. In terms of the jobs that have been created, I'm going to ask my colleague Chris to come through. But in a nutshell, honourable members, as IDT, as we roll out the infrastructure projects, we are able to the spin-off in that particular aspect in terms of job creation, that those projects are able to then create jobs such as electricians will be working on those projects, engineers will be working on that particular those projects, as well as the civil work that will be undertaken by those people who will be building those projects. If it's a building, if it's a GP project, we then have people like plumbers will be involved in those particular projects. We'll have people like the bricklayers will be involved in those particular job projects. If it's a CE, because we're a social infrastructure, or all those individuals will be involved from the machinery conductors and everyone will be involved in that particular project. Then I'm going to ask Chris if he can come through with the specifications in terms of that aspect as well. Thank you, members.
Thank you, Chair. I think you've covered it very well. Those work opportunities are opportunities that are created through the projects that we implement. So they are linked to the projects that the IDT implements. So that is what we call job opportunities created through the IDT, construction projects that we implement. Thank you.
Luaz.
Thank you very much. Is there anything else anybody wants to add?
Chairperson, there was oh, sorry.
Thank you, Chair. I'm speaking to, in addition to the areas that were covered by Minister, that we've intensified our processes in terms of fraud and corruption. In 4 areas. One, the areas where we, after investigations, there would be consequence management, which is basically dealt with internally. Which is what Minister is referring to. And then there are legal cases where if it's a service provider that is involved, whether there's collusion with the department officials, we also take that through legal, where we will also invoke or start a process of recovery, especially when there's financial loss. And we do have a number of cases, some of which are sitting in court. And if I just give you one example, there was an issue of land that was stolen and distributed amongst a number of land which was meant for construction of the Pan-African. There was a recent court judgment where they judged in favor of the department and also some of those companies that were also liable. Chair and honorable members, we also have criminal referrals that we make with SAPS. We meet with SAPS on a quarterly basis to try and take stock of the progress, and that is also guided by the schedule of criminal offences that we also deal with. And then there are some that we take them through the SIU, either on a proclamation signed by the President, which one of them is the top 10 minister, that top 10 list that Minister has alluded to. But also to speed up the process, we also form partnership with the SIU on a secondment agreement to deal with some of these issues. And in addition, Chair, what we're also picking now is that, through lifestyle audit and some of the investigation with the Hawks, we are already picking up the concerns and the number of colleagues who have actually expressed the need to resign. We've got about 2 that have already resigned as part of these processes. So those are some of the initiatives that are intensifying the issues of fraud and corruption. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Good, thank you very much. Honorable Kaunda, your hand is up. Oh, sorry, Mr. Gadla, did you want to add something?
Chairperson, there was just one question from Honorable Marcos Sini about the Labour. We wrote following the meeting to Labour to enhance our proposal, and then we have a meeting with the Director General of Labour and the team on the 8th of December. So we have progress on that one, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you. My apologies, I missed that. Honorable Kaunda.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Let me join you to congratulate our visionary president for having staged a successful G20 in our country and in Africa. But my question is based on the report which we received in connection with the lobbying that the minister committed to do with National Treasury so that IDT receive direct deposits on the work that is supposed to be done on behalf of the departments instead of that money being transferred to departments and departments become reluctant to pay IDT, especially on the work that have been done. So how far is that the progress insofar that is concerned? The last one, Chair, I'm concerned about the targets on the job creation and economic opportunities. I couldn't get clearly from both IDT and CIDP in terms of the targeted vulnerable groups like women, disabled, and as well as military veterans in terms the youth, in terms of the job that are being targeted, if they can remind me on the numbers that they've alluded to. But let's welcome the progress of CIDP and IDT as per the report that has been presented. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kaunda. I don't see any more hands, so let us take the follow-up from Honorable Treza. At the same time, if you don't mind, Minister, I think Honorable Treza had a follow-up to one of his questions.
No, Chair, in light of the barriers that were highlighted in both the presentations, Chair. I just wanted to check, Chair, what is now the way forward? What is the department doing to remove these barriers and ensure a coherent, integrated and functional infrastructure delivery model that protects the jobs, supports emerging contractors, and restores public confidence in the state's ability to deliver? Because if you check, we are just from the provincial weeks. I do not think there's public confidence in terms of what happens. You know, that the department can table, for instance, a clear costed turnaround plan, you know, addressing these solvency issues, debt recovery, and so forth. And in the technical build environment and reforms to enforce timely payments and ensure that those departments, those clients also have cash flow. That themselves they have issues of not being paid by provinces and the private sector themselves. What is the way forward with regards to those things so that we have a coherent and a precise manner in which
we are not reverting or continuing with isomorphism of the institutions, cut and paste, and think that we are going to resolve these issues at an expeditious pace, because we need solutions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Teza. Honourable Minister, over to you.
Thanks, Chair. I would say with respect, it's possibly evident that Honourable Teza hasn't read the South African Construction Action Plan. I'll ask my office to send it to you to distribute to members, because what he laments, correctly so, is exactly what the plan seeks to deal with. It seeks to deal with contractors, the state's ability to deliver, public confidence, finance, all of the things that he's spoken about is exactly what it deals with. So I would really ask through you, Chair, if you could distribute it to members. I think it would give them a comfort in looking at that. Honourable Konda, you've hit the nail on the head, and that's actually the real issue that we face. And I think maybe being a mayor yourself, a former mayor yourself, you understand the issue of how, you know, budgets start in one direction and move in another direction. And the real problem that we face is the lack of ring fencing budgets over the medium term, so that those that are committed to those projects actually remain with those projects. And so we, you know, that's one of the front and center points that we have all agreed on as provinces and national. And we are now, you know, sometimes, you know, you have to have a lobbying campaign, as you said, to get these things done. And we are beginning those engagements with Treasury. I've also briefed the President on this as well. Both the DM and I did so at the SACAP when we presented, you know, where these things are. We are preparing a further report for the President on these matters. So I think that it's an engagement that has to take place over the short term. It's not something we want to do over the medium or long term, because I think that the crisis is existential. But any support that we can obviously get from Parliament for this, and being yourselves, you know, in provinces and various roles that some of you have occupied or do occupy, I think you're sympathetic to the problem and to the solution that we have. So as soon as we do have some movement, Honourable Konda, we'll certainly report back. But the support that we could receive from yourselves and others would be greatly appreciated. And I've said publicly, Honourable Chair, that just if we could solve that issue on ring fencing budgets, boy, that would make a huge difference in our ability to deliver. Just that action on its own can make a big difference. All of them can make a huge difference. And that's why there is universal support, at least within the provinces and us, to get that done. And we would really like to see that one get across the line. And so hopefully early next year or towards the middle of next year, we would have made some good progress on that. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. I note the hand of the DM. DM Zikalala.
No, thanks, Chair. I just wanted to make a comment on the issue of job opportunities as raised by Honorable Kaunda. We are working in ensuring that we have a dedicated plan that seek to address the issue of vulnerable groups to ensure that all people benefit in the allocation or in the work. Two things we've done. The first one is through the contractor development program, is to ensure that we resuscitate programs such as Vupile, which were ring-fencing work for small contractors so that they will compete on their own. That help, so we are resuscitating that plan. The second is to ensure that social facilitation is done accordingly, so that when there is a bigger contractor or project in a locality, we ensure that social facilitation helps to secure in that particular locality. So we through CIDB, there is a program that is dedicated, which is called Build, that help them with trainings and support. And we said those who have gone through that program should not just have trainings for its sake, but they should also benefit through ring-fencing some work that is at their level so that they compete. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much for that, DM. I'm going to ask Dr. Clark and Mr. Mtelini, please take note that we need to get Treasury along with some of the defaulting departments in front of this committee. I know we've got a hectic schedule because we also deal with transport, the Minister and the Presidency, and planning, monitoring and evaluation, but let us try and make time as soon as possible to get Treasury and some of those defaulting ministries in front of this committee along with the department, so that we could bring to bear our weight to this conversation as Parliament. Honourable Minister, I have one question, and it's something that we picked up during our provincial week last week, where we were at a project in I think it was outside Mossel Bay, infrastructure project, a road construction project that was run by the internally by the internal capacity of the Western Cape Department of Infrastructure, and we found that EPWP workers on that specific construction project was paid double the standard EPWP rate, and they also from the department received accredited NQF2 and NQF4 training while they were on site. But our same, so then we started asking questions during the oversight visit, and it came to light that there are private contractors that are found to be unlawfully paying EPWP rates to workers who should have been remunerated at Building Industry Bargaining Council rates, the BIBC rates. So I would like to ask, Minister, if your department has any concrete mechanisms which you implement to ensure that private contractors appointed on national infrastructure projects comply with tender-specified labour rates and BIBC wage terminations, as opposed to just paying them the EPWP rate, which is what is required often. So I guess my question would be: is there compulsory wage compliance audit clauses in the CIDB regulations that deals with penalties or blacklisting for potentially for contractors who are found to be underpaying workers? Thanks, Minister.
Thank you. I'll ask the CIDB to come in here, but I mean, just from a principal position, and it would be unlawful to pay contract workers less than the minimum wage to begin with. So any company that is contracted through either a main awardee or awarded a tender itself would have to pay those specific sectoral rates, or at least the minimum wage. You cannot pay someone an EPWP wage for full-time work. That would be unlawful. And of course, if that information is made available to us, which we would strongly ask you to do, Chair, we would, through the CIDB, look to take action and what that requisite action would be. But there are sectorally determined wages that would be applicable. Through you, maybe if I can just ask Mr. Dladla to come in here.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, and thank you, Chairperson, for the question. We will have to look at those specific cases because, as the Minister has indicated, the BCCIC, with their rates that are gazetted and are agreed across the industry. But what you could find, what I'm understanding the question there to be, is that they're probably abusing a loophole of treating construction workers that are deemed to be doing construction work as the EPWP beneficiaries. And on a specific case, we should be able to investigate that, and we can take action within the code of conduct if such transgressions do occur. We would appreciate getting forward the information, and then we'll report back to the committee as to the action taken. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will make work of that and try and find some of the examples that we came across. If there are nothing else, honourable members, Honourable Nzimande, you haven't been asking any questions today. Is there anything you want to ask quickly before we say goodbye to the department? No. Thank you very much. Honourable Minister, is there anything you'd like to add in conclusion, or Deputy Minister?
So, Chair, let me just say, really, in conclusion, we're grateful for the committee's inputs and support. It's been a hard year, a long year. The DM and I have been really hard at work in the department with regards to our respective responsibilities. I think that we've really got a good cadence at the moment that we're trying to keep up. And really, just on behalf of the team, I would like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I think that as we are in the second, we start moving into the festive greeting season. So I would really just wish to greet everyone and wish everyone well. And we look forward to seeing everyone in the new year. We thank you for your support. We thank you for your inputs. We thank you for your criticism where it's deserved. And we look forward to building on that in the new year. I'd then just like to hand over to the DM as well through you, Chair. Thanks.
Deputy Minister, anything you'd like to add?
No, except to join the Minister in appreciating the engagement, and thank you for the opportunity, and all issues that are raised. I think we are taking them serious. The issue of the turnaround in the IDT, how do we ensure that it is sustainable? I think it's one issue that we will be pursuing, as the Minister said. Thank you, Honourable Chair.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister and Minister. Let me also then appreciate the delegation from the Department of Public Works. Mr. Ndakane, DG, thank you very much to you and to your department, also to the IDT, the board chairperson, Ms. Hill. I know you're going through a tough time, but there's always a silver lining in a dark cloud, and I'm convinced that the IDT will somehow get through this with our oversight and our support. And then to the CIDB, to the board chairperson, Mr. Zor, and the CEO of Untitled. Thank you very much for all the hard work you are doing, and congratulations once again on a successful construction conference. And then to the Minister and to the Deputy Ministers, thank you very much for the hard work you are putting into the department. On behalf of our committee, we wish you all a festive and peaceful season, and a very, very prosperous new year. We're looking forward to engaging with you again in the new year. With that, Honourable Minister, you are allowed to take your leave with the department. I'm just going to go on to some other business with my committee with regards to some bills we have to process. So you are welcome to take your leave.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mtelini. If you can flight the Economic Regulation of Transport Amendment Bill. The written submissions that we've received, I think what we'll do, honourable members, there are two items that we have to deal with under this bill. First of all, the consideration of the written submissions received in terms of the bill, and then we will consider and adopt the committee report on this bill, which will then be tabled in Parliament at a given date. So I think Dr. Clark, if you can take us through the submissions received, please.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson. Good morning, Chairperson, Honourable members, and everyone on the platform. I'll be taking members through the written submissions received on the Economic Regulation of Transport Amendment Bill, Section 75 Bill. The bill was referred to the Select Committee on 23 May, and in terms of NCLP Rule 176, the Select Committee then determined what the nature of public participation is it would undertake. In this case, being an advertisement calling for both written and oral submissions on the bill, and that adverse was published on the Parliament website as well as social media platforms. In response to that call, 2 written submissions were received, which both supported the bill, and no requests were received for oral submissions to the Select Committee. As stated, the 2 submissions both supported the bill, but in addition also made recommendations. The first submission was from Black Organizations Youth Boy, and their submission recommends that the process of amending the current bill must be used to fully align between the schedules and the Act, which is the object of the bill. It also recommends that further amendments must consider mechanisms to support emerging transport innovators and small enterprises, particularly in township and rural areas, where regulatory uncertainty often hinders participations. And in closing, that stakeholder engagement processes must include civil society and youth organizations working on local development and digital transformation in the transport systems. The second submission, which was received from Mr. Malula, also supports the correction of the errors, but further comments that there's a need for clear implementation guidelines in implementing the Act. He submits that it's necessary to align the Act with existing transport frameworks across provinces, municipalities, and community-based transport initiatives. And he also appeals that there should be accessibility of updated legislation so that it is easily accessible to the public through government platforms to promote transparency and support stakeholders who need accurate information. So having regard to the written submissions, members will note that beyond supporting the bill, the comments and recommendations fall beyond the scope of the bill that is currently before us. Members will remember that the scope currently is to correct the erroneous reference to the Economic Regulation of Transport Act in the schedules. So with the written submissions largely falling outside of the scope of the bill, it is recommended that the Select Committee note the written submissions received on the bill, refer the written submissions received to the Department of Transport for consideration during further legislative and policy development that might be undertaken. And lastly, it is recommended that the Select Committee proceed to the Select Committee report on the Economic Regulation of Transport Amendment Bill. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Clark. Mr. Mthalini, do we vote on these recommendations, or do we go straight over to the consideration of the report?
Thank you, Chairperson. We go straight to the report.
Thank you. Honourable members, the recommendations are therefore noted. Let us then flight the report, and for the record, I will just table the report. Honourable members, this is the report of the Select Committee on Public Infrastructure administered in the Presidency on the Economic Regulations of Transport Amendment Bill, Bill B10 of 2025, tabled in the National Assembly on the Section 75 basis, dated the 2nd of December 2025. Introduction: the Economic Regulation of Transport Amendment Bill was initiated as a committee bill by the Portfolio Committee on Transport. It was referred to the Select Committee on Public Infrastructure administered in the Presidency, the Select Committee from here onwards, on the 23rd of May 2025, ATC 80225. The objects of the bill are to amend the Economic Regulation of Transport Act 2024 so as to correct erroneous references in Schedule 1 of the Act to the Act and to provide for matters connecting therewith. The Select Committee process followed in respect of the bill. Parliamentary Legal Services briefed the Select Committee on the background and the objects of the bill on 28th of October 2025, informed by the technical nature of the bill and the fact that the Portfolio Committee on Transport received no inputs from the public in response to its call for written submissions. The Select Committee, during the meeting of the 28th of October 2025, agreed that it will undertake public participation in the form of an advert calling for written and oral submissions on the bill to be published on the Parliament website and social media platforms in all official languages. The deadline for receiving written submissions was the 1st of December 2025, and 2 written submissions were received, which both expressed support of the bill. No requests were made for oral submission to the Select Committee. Written submissions were considered by the Select Committee on the 2nd of December 2025, and the committee agreed to refer such submissions to the Department of Transport for consideration during further legislative and policy development that may be undertaken. The outcome of the Select Committee's consideration of the bill, the Select Committee on Public Infrastructure administered in the Presidency, having deliberated on and considered the subject of the Economic Regulation of Transport Amendment Bill, Bill B10 2025, referred to it and classified by the JTM as Section 75 Bill, reports that it has agreed to the bill. Honourable members, that will be the wording. We now need to consider this report in terms of Rule 153 of the Rules of the National Council of Provinces. When a question is to be decided in terms of Section 75 of the Constitution, which is what this bill is, at least 1/3 of the members of the committee must be present before a vote may be taken on a question, and the question is decided by a majority of the votes cast. Honourable members, the question we therefore put to the committee, can we confirm, Mr. Mthalini, we have more than 1/3 of the members present at the moment?
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, the question therefore that we put is that this committee considered and adopted the committee report on the bill, Economic Regulation of Transport Amendment Bill, Bill B10 2025, which is a Section 75 bill. Can I have all the hands on your devices in favour of this?
My hand is up, Chair. I can't raise my hand.
We note your virtual hand, Honourable Malakome. Thank you. Honourable Treza. Honourable Kaunda, thank you. Your hand is noted. Are there any of the members that are voting against this report? I don't see any hands against.
So,
Honourable Nzimande, are you voting against the report? I'm sorry, Honourable Nzimande, I just missed you said something, but are you voting against the report?
Yes.
Thank you. Honorable Treza, I didn't see your hand. Are you voting for or against, or you are abstaining?
No, I'm not abstaining. I'm voting in favor.
Thank you very much. That's duly noted. Honorable Marcassini. Honorable members, just for a reminder that this is just a date change in the bill. So just in case you forgot our deliberations, because during the deliberation stage there were no objections. But we note your objection, Honorable Zamande. Is there any other objections? No, thank you very much, honorable members. Therefore, this bill is duly, the report on this bill is duly accepted by this committee and will be tabled in the NCOP at the next available date. Mr. Mthalini, can we please flight the minutes of the previous meeting? Thank you very much, honorable members. In front of us are the minutes of the previous meeting. Can you just go up, please, Mr. Mthalini, so I can see the subject of the meeting? This was the meeting of the Department of Transport on its annual report 2024-25, which was held on the 26th of November 2025. Please check the attendance. Thank you, Mr. Mthalini. There were apologies received from Honorable Kaunda and Honorable Mbebu. Thank you. Proceedings. Page 2, going over to page 3. Honorable members, these minutes were sent to you on electronic media. The deliberations of the committee. Thank you, Mr. Mthalini. Going over to page 4. And the adjournment was at 1 o'clock. Thank you very much. Could I have a proposer for this minutes, please?
Chair, I propose.
Thank you, Honourable Skeerkovel. May I have a second as well, please?
I will second, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, if there's no further considerations, let me take this opportunity to thank you all for your attendance. And Mr. Mthalini, will we be having a meeting next week?
Chairperson, I think we need to discuss that one because the ruling party, 4 members will not be available next week. They are having their National General Council. So
which is the ruling party?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. Sorry, Mr. Mthalini, I missed the word ruling there.
My apology. Okay, members of the African National Congress will be attending the National General Council.
The erstwhile ruling party, the erstwhile.
Honourable members, there will be 4 members.
You are invited to the NGC as well.
Honourable members, there will be 4 members not present next week. So let me talk to the committee management team, and let's look at what was scheduled for next week. We are at the end of this term.
You don't give up.
And I think if it's not
it's supposed, yes, most prescriptions are.
Honourable Skeerkovel, if you don't mind, just quickly muting yourself so that I can finish what I was saying. Thank you. So if the meeting was not essential, then we could maybe postpone it to the next term. But let us take under advisement that And with that, I would like to thank you all for your attendance today and for your patience during difficult times with the department battling with technical issues. And I wish you all a good afternoon. And being a virtual meeting, lunch is being bought by Honourable Nzimande on the virtual platform. Please enjoy. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Chair. I've reserved your seat in the NGC.
Yeah, but there's no meeting scheduled for next week. It's only Finance Committee and Appropriations.
Yep, according to
Yes.
to the program.
According to the program.
According to what?
Thank you.
According to the
program.
To the program.
Yeah.
Yes, according to the program.